Okay, to our top story now. The first group of migrants are expected to be housed on the Bibby Stockholm barge in the coming days, despite opposition from local groups.
Yes, the barge, set to accommodate 500 male asylum seekers, arrived at Portland Harbour last month after being tugged from Falmouth.
Joining us now is a No to the Barge campaigner, Dr. Susan Phoenix. Good morning to you, Susan. So I know you guys have been battling away peacefully and respectfully now for a long time. So how do you feel that here we are, this is the week it seems, when the first residents are about to come? How does that make you feel as a local?
I think everyone is still very frustrated about the whole situation, because there's no doubt this place is not a safe environment for the barge. It just isn't right. So we're very, very worried, and we do feel it's being rushed, cart before horse. The infrastructure hasn't been prepared. The support services haven't been prepared. There are no resources, and money is just being thrown around from top to bottom from the government. We feel cheated, and we feel sorry for the people coming to stay on the barge, but we also feel very sorry for the local residents. It just has been, well, it's just been a mess from top to finish, you know.
So when you talk about infrastructure not being there, the resources not being there to cope, what would you like to see in place?
Well, ideally, we'd like to see the whole barge towed away and the port to say, gosh, we did make a mistake. We realise we don't have the resources. One problem after another keeps coming up. We now have the problem of the fire, and the fact the arrogance of the government has come out yet again. They haven't taken the advice of the local fire services and the fire brigade union. They've just said, oh, don't worry, it'll be fine. Now, we've heard this before, haven't we, in so many things in our country. It'll be fine. And we know it will not. We're worried now, not just about the guests I'm calling people guests on the boat, on the barge, but about our fire services, our ambulance services. If you look at the structure of that barge, I'm not an expert, and you wouldn't need to be to look. It's very, very long. And if you happen to be on that back wing, I have no idea how you would get out in a fire. And when people say, oh, but it's been used before by workers, it's not relevant, because these people are not workers. They're not a disciplined, coherent bunch, because the languages are all going to be different. How are we going to get all of those people off? And how are we also going to get the ambulances and the fire services onto our island? The thing that keeps getting forgotten is we are one road on, one very narrow road on and off. If you look at the map and you look at a beautiful photo in our pictures of Portland this morning, a tiny road really with a bridge linking us to the mainland. So if we have one accident, the whole place is fouled up. Ambulances aren't getting through, fire engines aren't getting through, and that's for the locals as well as anyone coming into that port.
Susan, the irony of this campaign is that the so-called anti-racist, the refugees welcome crowd also don't want the barge in Portland, do they? They say, quite correctly, that it will overwhelm the local National Health Service, 500 military-aged men being dumped on a community of 12,000. Yet, here we are once again, it's NIMBYism, it's no illegals in my backyard for them, but they want to dump it on your community. Do you feel like you're just being completely abandoned by central government, by all the politicians in the UK?
Yes. I mean, we're talking about the people power and reclaiming our voices, but we were never given a voice in the first place. It's devious underhand dealings between the Home Office and Portland Port owners. The Reeves and Langham's families have treated us like the serfs of medieval days. We keep saying that. We met the owner of the CEO of the port just recently, who refused to even speak or acknowledge a group of 6 residents just having coffee in the local coffee shop to say, can you help us? Will you have a little meeting? What can we do? And he literally just did that. Goodbye. Now, that says it all. So how can anyone care for the residents on the island or the barge with that kind of attitude? Plus, I think what really annoys all the groups, a lot of money is being made right through from the start. I made a chart the other day. I'm sorry it's not presentable, but it looks at all the companies involved, right down from Sunak and Braverman, the Home Office, the port, the families involved. Then we go down, they're going to pay for private health for the people on the barge. We can't see a doctor sometimes up to 8 weeks here. And then we have the foreign companies involved. We have the Australians, the Americans, all being given services. And so when we have absolute waffle coming out of our port owners saying, oh, it's going to help the resources of the local area. No, it's going to deplete. And when we have the local health officers saying, it won't impinge on your services, we say, but it will, because we don't have any services. That money could have been put into helping our services first. It's like me inviting you to dinner and forgetting to get the food in and forget to tell you how to get here. It's as simple as that. No planning, no common sense. What has happened to our government agencies? No common sense.
And in terms of the area in which you live, Susan, I mean, Portland, it's a beauty spot, isn't it? It's where many cruise liners pull in from around the world. I know there's been local conversation, fear perhaps, that will impact on businesses and the hotels and the local economy.
Absolutely. Because we're very close to Bournemouth, just along the coast here, and the people from there have already found their tourist industry being impinged upon. The police are not, they're being discouraged, I'm going to say that, from reporting any crimes locally so as it doesn't look as if it might be someone that from outside. All of that kind of stuff. There's a lack of honesty. So it will impinge. We need to know we have security, and we don't feel we have enough. They've given us, with these massive amounts of money, 2 PCSOs and some extra security cameras for a summer holiday input of all of these people. It's just not sufficient. It's really quite frightening.
And Susan, one of the narratives put out by those who are against it on the refugees' welcome side is that this would be some sort of floating prison. It's not that at all. Can you make it clear to GB News viewers that actually the 500 men on board will be free to come ashore and go back as they see fit?
Well, they will up until a point, but that group do have a point, because they will have to be escorted off the port of Portland. So they will be behind locked gates when they're in there, because the port has such a high security level. Actually, the port are getting rather silly. I think they think they're operating a top security military base, because they've sent out letters. They have sent out letters to all their workers recently saying, please don't take photos. Well, they haven't said please. They've said, do not take photos. Do not discuss what you're seeing here, or there will be other... you will be dealt with in a suitable manner. Now, this is getting a little bit big brotherish, if not the old-fashioned Russia, isn't it? It's really worrying people. Why is all this secrecy going on? Why do they think, and how are they going to govern the cruise liners? When the cruise liners come in, first people do is take a photo of the port they arrive in. So are they going to put these letters on all the cruise liners? It's just, I don't understand why it's so farcically inadequate and poor planning.
Okay, Dr. Susan Phoenix of the Just Say No to the Barge campaign in Portland. Thank you for joining us this morning on GB News Breakfast. Thank you.